It's all rolling into one.
And we also have here with us today, Aaron Taylor Johnson. So thank you so much for bringing your film to us at TIFF. We're so excited to present it to our audiences.
It's such a privilege. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. So I guess I just want to start with what was it about this story that really struck you? I mean, there are a lot of stories about addiction, and what was it about James Frey's novel that really resonated with you?
Well, ultimately, I wanted to make a movie that, I mean, it's about addiction, but it's full of hope. It's not, it's, you know, it's sad, of course, it's devastating, but there is endless possibilities of hope and places to find redemption. And when I first read the book, the thing, and I read it when the week it came out, and a friend of mine had given it to me, and I just remember how, as soon as I read it, I saw it as a movie, and I saw the vision of it, and I love the community of the characters, and that was something which stayed. I wasn't a filmmaker then; I was an artist, and I kind of followed and tracked its journey until there was the day that I was a filmmaker, and the rights had reverted back to James, I managed to get in touch with him, and I said, I hear you've got the rights back. And he said, yeah, you want them? And I said, yeah, I do. And he said, well, you can have them. Just go make the movie and be creative, make art, and freeform. And I'm not going to be around if you don't want me, or I am if you want me. And so it's been a truly creative journey. And that's, that was what resonated with me from the beginning. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, it's great. And then, so you co-wrote this together. And so what was that process like? And talking about creating the character of James from the material to the screen.
It was awesome. Well, it doesn't actually work. Is there a button with this? Okay, we'll put this on the floor and we'll share. Yeah, it was great. I mean, it felt very natural as well, but, considering Sam already, had a very strong idea for what she wanted to do visually, and I think, cinema is a visual medium, so when you have the director already going, I want to shoot it like this and what have you, it was just a matter of actually writing it and putting it down, and kind of being bold and deciding that the book in itself is an incredible book. I mean, it's a brilliant read and a fantastic story and a mix of load of emotions, and it's funny and it's internal, and so you never want to be comparing with that, or you never want to be like, well, we're going to try and make that. We need to kind of have an interpretation of what that is and bring it to life in a whole other medium, and so to have that free reign from James from the beginning was a blessing, and then it just meant that we could play and discover, and it was great. I really loved that process. We spent a whole year doing it, and we wrote it on spec. We put everything aside and was just like, we were very motivated to work with one another again. So our determination was just to get it done, and it was an incredible experience.
Well, it definitely shows it was a labor of love. But yeah, and so, you have his words, but then there's such a physicality to the performances that are here. There's the dance element that plays so strongly. So what were your choices for that?
Again, Sam and I have done a couple things together. We met on our first movie, Nowhere Boy, and but since then we've done a few like music videos and sort of art videos and things like that. And something that we do really well, or we enjoy doing well, is playing with that kind of that otherworldliness, that physicality, that surrealism, that. And we did an REM video a while back where I was dancing down the street, and it was very liberating and wild and unapologetic. And we wanted to, or Sam, in fact, really wanted to apply that to this, and which I had a hard time kind of figuring out how that would translate, when we were in the writing stages of it, because of, not being necessarily very much. James Frey as a person is definitely not.
Not a dancer.
But he's just, he's in incredible words. Again, he sort of internalizes it and is very visual in that aspect. And I think, I just wanted to, and I think Sam wanted me to kind of express that in a physical way, and so that kind of came about that way, and it made it more our movie, rather than it was very much Sam's voice,
Did you? Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't have this mic.
No, and I think, for example, it was the opening scene, or not the opening scene, but the scene where he enters rehab. It was, without being sort of full of exposition and what's he feeling. I think, it was that thing of you explained it really well last night with.
I think also. Well, I think the first scene.
When you skid in.
Oh right,
yeah.
Yeah, you can do that.
No, you're doing it really well.
Well,
it works. It works. Yeah,
I can hear you.
Well, twofold, I guess. Also, because the first time we open this movie, if you're a huge fan of the book, you're expecting the beginning to be on the plane, right? And a lot of people do. And in fact, that's how we started this journey, on the plane. And I think if you open that way, there was a fear of also being, you're instantly sort of could be defensive, or you have your own opinion on how you kind of saw that moment. And I think we needed to get away from that and kind of go, actually, if we how we really want to open is like, show him the moment before that, and in that short space of time kind of show you that we're actually going to take you on a different journey of how we're going to how we're going to tell the story, and show James stripped down and in a volatile way, and vulnerable and far gone, and loss of dignity and sense of inhibitions, and with physical, with a dance, and also then with the falling out of the window, that instant gallows humor, and it kind of set the tone for how we wanted the rhythm to be, the way that James writes in that rhythm, that balance of laugh, and sadness, light and dark. But the corridor scene that Sam was just saying was another one. It was I think in the book it was fluorescent, harsh light, and he didn't want to see it, and he felt like he was in a dark place, in a dark hole, and Sam wanted to express that and kind of go, well, I see it as literally the walls are caving in, and there's like, it's just the shit is coming through, and the sewage, and he's just making, and he's uncomfortable, and he's in a place where he's just there's just fear's dripping down the walls right now, and and sometimes you're explaining it like that, and you go, well, that's maybe we should shoot it like that, and then eventually, and then Sam's like, but then you get used to it, and then you're like dancing in it, and you're just filling yourself, because you realize, oh, this is just shit. I know shit. I've just been from shit. Like, this is as bad as it gets. This is piss. This is easy. I can do this. All right, I'm going to slide my way into here, and I can deal with these people, and this is, they ain't got nothing on me. I'm not like these people, which just felt so much like that character, that in denial, that thing, I'm not an addict. I'm not supposed to be here. And it just set the tone of just, a bit of fun, a bit of like lightness with this hard subject, this dark subject,
Absolutely. There are those moments of light and dark, and I feel like the tone so much is set also with the music. You have this amazing 90s soundtrack with R.E.M. and Smashing Pumpkins, and let's talk a little bit about getting those involved in the story, because it just feels like another layer to the story.
Yeah, I mean, I always say, obviously, sound is as important as vision, and the music of that time was, exciting to play with, and a lot of choices there, and as much as the Smashing Pumpkins as an opening, when Leonard comes in dancing to Heaven Must Be Missing an Angel, it kind of frames that time period quite well. And I don't know if you know, but we shot this movie in 20 days. It was a crazy wild ride, and we had thank you. It was extreme low budget, and we put that track right at the beginning, and it set the tone, and I couldn't see any other track opening it, and we couldn't afford the kind of money that they normally get paid for that thing. So the process was write the letters and send the clip and beg for to their kinder nature, and it worked, because I think with a lot of people who worked on this movie, musicians and soundtrack and actors and props and all departments, it felt like everybody or most people had been touched by addiction in some form or another, either personally in themselves and in recovery, or people around them, family or friends, and so it became a real community spirit when we made this movie, especially working at that kind of speed, and so people were generous with their time, their work, and luckily with the soundtrack, because that was it was important to me. I didn't want it just stock library music. I wanted good fucking music.
Yeah. And it was good fucking music. Yeah. I'm going to open up the questioning to the audience now. Yes, right here.
Love the film.
Thank you.
I haven't had so much fun at the dentist. He's very sad. I just want to know if I've seen it and what he thinks of it.
Okay, so yes, sir. So the question is, has James Frey seen the film, and what does he think of it? And also, I guess, what's his involvement in the project?
Yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning, he was very much, I want you to make your movie. I'm not going to be around. So during script process, he didn't want to read anything, and we didn't really want him to read anything too, because sometimes that can prove difficult. So he was very hands off, but at the same time, he said, "I'm here. Call me if you need any want to ask any questions." And just to sort of answer with a bigger story, we went and spent time at the treatment facility where he had been, and we went with him there, and it was a very it was an emotional experience walking around with him there. And he said, "I don't think I can ever see this film. It's going to be too hard." And it's fine, and then I think curiosity got the better of him. So when we finished shooting, I said, "Do you want to see it? I'd like you to be the first person." And he said, "Yeah, actually, I do want to see it." And he watched it on his own, and it was emotional. We had a very beautiful and emotional call after, and then he came last night. He came for the screening last night and sat with the audience, and I think he was a nervous wreck, but I think he felt the love.
He felt very proud and blessed, and we all shared a very passionate hug afterwards, and he said thank you and I love you guys, and it just felt that to us was a huge achievement in itself, to feel like it has his blessing on it. And he said to Sam, you went away and you did what you said you would. You made art, so that was nice.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Oh, down here.
Well, the question was about the editing process, and because shooting it in 20 days does not afford you a lot of extra material. We pretty much used all our material. I think there was a couple of things it's such a blur. I mean, the shoot was 20 days. We had 12 weeks post. It was absolutely crazy, but it was we were editing at quite high speed. But I'm trying to think what got lost by the wayside. Not much.
There was some things. I think. The process, I think, was like Sam said, there wasn't much footage to sort of start picking and choosing and playing with, but at some point and like you said, we didn't have much time either. You want to really soak in that time. It takes a good 10 weeks just to sort of put a pretty rough assembly that kind of, you can sort of see a story there, and then we had an extra week or two on top just to finish it off, so by about 7 weeks in, we were having to make pretty bold decisions on And I mean that in like, you had to be kind of, would say like we're Edward Scissorhands and just be ruthless, you know, and go, you know, take that out, take this out, take that out, and then let's just sit and watch it again, and then see, oh, actually that works now, but now I'm missing this moment. I'm missing the bit where, and playing, and then you know, and Sam has just got this innate ability, which is just sort of fine tunes. By the end, it's just it's like it's by even like a flicker of an eyelid, you know. Where you find that little extra bit of emotion, or I want to see a little bit more vulnerability, or I want to see a little bit of anger, or whatever it is. But and obviously the main rhythm that Sam wanted from the beginning when she read the book was that laugh, and you know, that sadness and laughter and light and dark, and so you kind of go through waves of that, and it's about the fine balance of that, you know. So you can go from having information from the doctor and it letting it soak over James to, you know, him getting aggressive and, you know, fed up and frustrated, and then, you know, he's in a shower scene trying to, you know, feeling sorry for himself and having a little bit of moment to himself, and there's nowhere to hide in that environment, and then he gets, you know, taken by surprise by John, and then it's this kind of haphazard, humorous, silly moment that, you know, is just, you need that moment of breath when you've just been delivered some harsh news. So, and that was the joy in writing it and making it and filming it and the editing of it too.
Absolutely. Okay. Oh, yep, just in the middle there.
Good question. So Billy Bob Thornton for Leonard was an obvious choice. He was just, I loved him playing it. I mean, and you can see his outfit choices were pretty spectacular. I mean, he would come out the costume trailer in an outfit and just go, right? And we'd all go, yeah. And, you know, he was fantastic, and Charlie Hunnam I'd always wanted to work with, and as we were writing this, I was just like, Charlie's got to be the brother. We've got to hope he's available and willing to do this, and you know, thankfully he was, and Juliette Lewis, we were brainstorming for that character for Joanne, and I was like, I don't know, I want someone who's like an older Juliette Lewis, you know, Juliette Lewis who's like grown up and become, and he's like, Juliette Lewis. I mean, let's have Juliette Lewis. I was like, do you think? And you know, and again, very generous, because you know, there was I think they came on each of them, like it was just it was a few days, but it was an intense days. And Odessa, I say this all the time, Odessa, God bless her, because we hired her on a Saturday morning and we started filming on Monday, so she had Sunday to prepare. And for reasons which I won't go into, but she came on, you know, she was the last person to come on, and we were, you know, sort of scouring the earth and found her, and she was in Sundance with her movie Assassination Nation, and she and I spoke to her and I was like, you know, I'd love you to play this role. Great, when does it start? Monday. And you know, and it was just beautiful serendipitous fortune that she could, and you know, she really came on as though she'd been preparing for months, and she went into that headspace and understood exactly how to play that in that sort of, you know, that damaged, fragile, broken, beautiful, strong, fierce, you know, such a complexity of character, but and she just kind of stepped right into it.
Absolutely. No, I think, you know, all the performances were absolutely stunning, and this film itself is just really such a gift. And I'm sorry we don't have any more time for questions, but thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Everyone for coming to watch.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Stan, thank you.
That's great. And don't forget to vote for People's Choice Award if you really enjoyed the film.
Yeah, please.
Thank you.